Okay, this is going to be a walkthrough of the inventory that I have. Here is a shot of miscellaneous limbs. They've already been sandblasted and they're ready to go for any kind of projects. I don't know how many's in here. It's just a pretty nice size pile. We use these for table legs and different sort of things like that. I've got a little half log with some limbs sticking out of it here. There's a couple of Juniper boards that could be used for shelves or possibly benches. There's 3 of those. They're roughly the same size. They're about 4.5 or 5 feet tall, and they range maybe around 10 inches on average wide. Here's a nice slab that has a lot of character in it. And then there's another one about the same behind it. These slabs are about 3 inches in thickness. And at the widest point, they're probably about 24 or 26 inches wide on this one. This one looks to be maybe 32 to 36 inches wide at the widest point. Approximately 5 foot tall on the front one, and probably 4.5 maybe on the second one. Okay, then on this side, I have a partially finished, I call it my hang 10 foot. It kind of looks like a foot from the old hang 10 symbol, if you're old enough to remember that. This one's probably 3.5 inches thick. The back side's already been sanded and some polyurethane finish on that already. This one at the widest point, probably 3 foot, and the piece is maybe 4 or 5 feet long. Then we've got one right next to it, and this one is probably almost 6 feet. At the widest point at the very bottom there, that's maybe 36 to 40 inches probably. The middle is maybe 28 inches maybe, and at the very top it's probably about 18 inches. Behind that, I've got 2 giant ones. They're about 3 inches thick. They'd make really nice tables. They're twins. There's 2 of them, as you can see here from the end. They're, just 2 sectioned pieces out of the same log. And they are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, approximately 7 foot long. And they are maybe 3.5 feet at the widest point in the middle, and they're pretty consistent, the same width all the way through. They've got the little curb out here on the end. I don't know what the right word for that would be. And then we've got another piece here that's probably 3 feet long, 2.5 inches thick, 13 inches, 14 inches wide, and then another one just slightly smaller behind it, and another one slightly taller, about the same size behind it. This one's probably 4 foot long. Okay. I don't think I showed you. Yes, I did show you that one. Okay, then, pardon the jerkiness here of the camera. This one's probably 3.5, maybe 40 inches wide. It's pretty consistent, and then it's got kind of a tapered end. It's over 6 foot. I'm 6 foot tall and it's probably 6'4". Get a little better shot of that from a little farther away. Then I have this one would make possibly a mantelpiece or a bench, something long. It's about probably 11 foot tall because that's a 10 foot high ceiling in there plus the rafters, and it sticks up above that. Yeah, it's probably 11 or 12 feet long, and it's probably about 18 inches wide on average. And the thickness on that one would be, probably 2 3/4, 3 inches, something along those lines. Then moving out here, I've got a miscellaneous pile of scraps, just different little interesting pieces like for smaller projects. Just to give you a scale, that this is my foot. I wear a size 11.5. So you can kind of get an idea how big these are. I'm not going to try to guesstimate all of them. There's another limb laying there. Here's a piece. I think this one's shaggy bark juniper, and so is the one next to it. It's got to be about, the tall one is probably, from the bottom to the tip has got to be about maybe 9-10 feet, and then the one next to it here is probably 5 feet maybe. I've got some miscellaneous milled boards that are like around 5/4. They're cut on a sawmill, so they're all different thicknesses actually, and you can plane them down. I've got a little pile of burl wood. Again, here's my foot for scale. It's just individual chunks of this burl wood. I've made some interesting thing like business card holders, or you can use them in lamps. There's got to be about, I don't know, 10 or 12 of them there. Then we've got this stack of wood in this corner is all shaggy bark, or most of it's shaggy bark juniper. There's a little piece of alligator right there. Like I said, these are mostly 5/4 boards, miscellaneous widths and heights. You can cut trim boards out of these, make shelves. Here's a pretty tall one. I don't know if you can see, it goes all the way up. That's 14 foot. And that one probably maybe 10 inches, 10 or 12 inches at the widest. And then it goes up, it's maybe 8 at the very top. And then another partial tree there. It's like 1/4 of a tree with limbs on it. Got a whole nice pile of milled shaggy right here. Like I say, these are the 5/4 boards. Most of them, there's some with some little thicker boards mixed in there too, but for the most part, they're the 5/4 boards. There's a couple 2-inch, maybe 1.5-inch boards in there. They're various heights, various widths. I use these. I made a whole bunch of door casings out of these one time, but they're good for a lot of different projects. You can see, how big that pile is there. Some little miscellaneous shorter ones there, and some other stuff behind in here. And like I say, the tallest ones of these are maybe 12 foot, but they range in height, maybe around 6 or 7 feet for some of these on the front. Then I got another pile, basically the same kind of material, roughly 5/4. These ones are a little wider. This one's got to be about 14 inches wide, probably about 5 foot high. This one's maybe 8 inches wide. Here's a one on the end that's pretty tall, probably 10 feet, I'd say. Pretty good pile of these over, this is a pretty good pile of wood here too. just give you a little more close look at that. Okay, then I got just some miscellaneous crap. This was just leftover stuff from projects I've done. So here's what how I milled those boards I was telling you about. Cut a straight edge. You can make casing out of them. You leave a natural edge, and you can plane them down to any thickness. Put a straight edge on them if you need that. Here's a few cut-offs of some different slabs. That slab's probably, it's a pretty thick slab actually. That's probably 5 inches thick, maybe 20 inches in diameter. Some other miscellaneous stuff here, a couple boards. Some other stuff here in the corner, a little bit taller one here. This one's maybe 4 or 5 feet tall. Miscellaneous stuff here. A couple little pieces here. This is my project bench, some stuff I've been working on. This is what the kind of stuff you can make out of that 5/4 board. This has been planed down, cut, and I was making boxes out of it. Cedar boxes. You know, the Juniper is in the cedar family. Here's some really nice pieces for mantles. This is a beautiful, I love this one. It's got some real character. It's 18-20 inches wide at the widest point. It's probably 6 feet long. The one next to it is, and it's milled on the top. The one next to it's milled on the top and the bottom. Probably 18 inches wide, and it's a little longer. It's maybe 6 or 7 feet long. And it's probably 4.5, 5 inches, 4.5 on the end. And then you can see the end of the more rustic one. This is a beautiful piece. I was going to put this on my fireplace one day, but haven't got around to that yet. So that's pretty much, oh, I know, there's one other thing here I didn't mention. Here's a couple of those 5/4 boards that are really long. If you had some long shelving and stuff, these have got to be about 14 foot long. Here's another just rough piece laying on top here you could use for some kind of decoration. And there's that. Like I say, it's 5/4 board roughly. And I believe that's it.